countdown to economic collapse.
Split the vote. Split the vote. 2012. Split the vote. Split the vote.
It's October 14th, 2012. David John Sponheim, running for president under America's Third Party. Well, we've got about 3 weeks till the election, and our nation is still squandering its money. Waste is prevalent in our budget, tremendous waste, and neither party has ever been able to come to a real reckoning as to how we're going to get rid of this waste. We're going to get rid of this waste by getting rid of the two-party system. I know that sounds very extreme, but at the same time, we have no other choice. The American people aren't getting representation in Washington. We are, in fact, underrepresented. The people that are in Washington are people that are multimillionaires. Most of them are a millionaire. Barack Obama is a multimillionaire. Mitt Romney is close to a billionaire. We have a problem, folks. Our country is being run by greedy people. That is the problem. Their moneyed interest, their donations that come into their campaign virtually come from people in the industries that they're trying to regulate and oversee.
This just in from POGO, the Project on Government Oversight. September 13th, 2012. The Lockheed campaign cash has flowed to members of House panel probing the F-22 problems. Apparently, the F-22 was put back into circulation this past week by a group of subcommittee members. All but one of the 25 subcommittee members have received contributions in the current election cycle from individuals or political action committees associated with Lockheed Martin, the prime contractor on the F-22.
You take a look at other companies, big corporations that have investment capital from congressmen. It's going to shock you how much money Congress is actually investing in big Fortune 500 corporations.
Here are some of the most popular stocks in Congress. That's right. Members of Congress are investing in big companies like ExxonMobil. For example, top congressional investors for ExxonMobil would include John Carter of Texas, who has $1 million to $5 million in stocks. And then take a look at the stocks like AT&T. John Kerry has $1.5 to $2 million invested there. And the number of investors for AT&T are 44 different congressional members investing. Take a good look at Wells Fargo. 45 invested there. Maximum total value of holdings, $4.28 million. John Kerry, again, $351 to $765,000 in investments. Take a look at other stocks like Intel. John Kerry, again, $6 to $1.28 million invested. Michael McCall, $200 to $500,000 invested. 47 members of Congress are investing in Intel. Now look at Pfizer. 51 of your congressional members are investing in Pfizer. And John Kerry, again, $752 to $1.53 million invested. Sensenbrenner, $5 to $1 million. Kurt Schrader, Democrat of Oregon, has nearly $500,000 invested in Pfizer. Cisco, members invested, 56 members of Congress. John Kerry, again, $602 to $1.28 million invested. Richard Hanna, Republican, New York, $250,000 invested. Jane Harman, $200,000 from California, Democrat.
All right, so you might say this is just a fluke, that our country couldn't possibly be run by all these greedy people that are making all this money from corporations and private interests who want their policies passed. Well, it isn't a fluke. It's exactly how our nation was designed to run. You see, we have a corporation running within the United States of America. The corporation is called the United States. Believe it or not, it is a corporation. And it chooses and selects its leaders. It doesn't necessarily elect them. So when you think of Barack Obama as your president, he's actually the president and CEO of the corporation United States. He doesn't even need to be elected. He can be selected. Corporations, similarly, have more power than they've ever had. They're the new feudalism that we feared would happen in other countries a long, long time ago. They're the new feudalist lords or fascist overlords of our nation's economy. And these corporations are able to buy their way into every single government circle and every single discussion that affects your life.
Mission by a person claiming to be a federal judge.
On August 4th, 1790, Article 1 of the U.S. Statutes at Large, pages 138 to 178, abolished the states of the Republic and created federal districts. In the same year, the former states of the Republic reorganized as corporations, and their legislatures wrote new state constitutions, absent defined boundaries, which they presented to the people of each state for a vote. Why this time? Because the new state constitutions fraudulently made the people citizens of the new corporate states. A citizen is also defined by law as a corporate fiction. The people were bound to the corporate state, and the states were bound to the corporate United States, and fraudulently obligated all of us to pay the debts of the federal government owed to the king. This was necessary because the United States was officially bankrupt on January 1st, 1788. And the politicians, our founding fathers, who benefited the most by these revolutionary loans, required a guarantee to present to the king. Absent that guarantee, they were personally obligated to repay the debts.
This is the worst tragedy our nation could have ever had happen. And here I am, running as a third-party candidate against all odds, against death threats on a weekly basis, trying to promote a brand new vision for this country, a centrist vision, where we can all find agreement points, compromise, and learn to work within our budget as opposed to borrowing money just to maintain this economy. Most of the money that comes into our economy through taxes is actually going toward the interest on the debt. The financing of our entire country's budget is coming from borrowed money. The Fed prints up money every single year, hands it out, gives it out to the government, and buys up treasury bonds, and they do it to your behest. You will end up paying for it as taxpayers, and our kids will end up paying the price of this incredible ballooning economy which doesn't seem to know when to cut its waste. Now, a third party is absolutely necessary to cut that waste because we have a two-party system that constantly appeals to the moneyed interest that gets them elected. Like I said, this will continue forever. So the only person that's going to break the cycle of abuse and waste in our country would be you, the voter. You're the only one who can stand out right now in this election and say, hey, I'm done with the two-party system. I'm done with these liars and cheaters and corrupt politicians, and I want an honest person to be president of the United States. Simply write David John Sponheim on the ballot in the presidential write-in section, and that will at least make a statement to the rest of the world that we're not going to stand for this corruption in our elitists, in our government. We're not going to stand for the way our country's been operating. Now, we don't want war at America's third party. We want to get our troops home. We want to guard our border. We want to stop the unbelievable illegal and non-U.S. citizen problem we've got. We want to get you at least $3 trillion savings over 4 years, and I spelled it out recently in the previous video. We want to get you at least that much money so that our nation can begin to pay off its real debt, which is the debt to the American people. We didn't get any money from TARP. Not one American citizen got a dime from TARP, but they continue to give bailouts. Ben Bernanke's QE3, now offering $40 billion a month to mortgage-backed security companies that are holding the paper on a lot of foreclosed and condemned properties. We would rather see those properties fixed up and renovated. We'd rather see jobs created that offer a living wage, that give people stability, and most of all, give them the chance to own a house. We have a plan people can own a house in 10 years at $500 a month payments. And that house would be completely renovated with state-of-the-art equipment and all the appliances you'd ever want to live a very comfortable life in this modern age. America can do better. And if we continue to allow the two-party system to lie to us and tell us they're going to solve our problems when they have no new ideas, we will be falling into that hole, that trap of wondering, gee, why did they bankrupt our future? Why did they continue to spend money when we didn't have it? Why did they continue to pad their own pockets when they knew this was going to crash? Well, the economy is being artificially prepped and propped up right now by this incredible printing of money at the Federal Reserve. The Federal Reserve is not part of the government. It is a private corporation acting like a rogue corporation, like a rogue central bank. And in no way are we going to see any accountability unless we actually end the Fed and take over the printing of our dollars. At America's Third Party, we're neither socialists or capitalists. We're hybrid capitalists. We believe that the country can produce enough revenue from government operations to finance its existence. That means the government would compete in private sector areas, but just enough to maintain a strong presence and an ability to actually function without drawing from your tax dollars. You continue to give them tax dollars because according to their laws, they claim you have to. People like Wesley Snipes actually lost a lot of money and ended up serving jail time because he didn't pay his taxes. But I believe that if you make less money than you're required to earn to pay taxes, you will end up not paying taxes like the 47% that Mitt Romney says he doesn't care about. Oh, that's right, Mitt Romney says he's sorry he said that, but he does care about them. So in other words, the Republicans came up with this elaborate liar named Mitt Romney who can say whatever he wants and then reverse his position. The Democrats came up with this elaborate liar called Barack Obama who says one thing and does another. He said he wanted open health care discussions prior to Obamacare passing. He never ever had those open health care discussions on C-SPAN. He said there would be no mandatory health insurance, and that is exactly what we have. He even said it wasn't going to be a tax. And the reason why the Supreme Court passed Obamacare was because they said it's a tax. Well, it doesn't support the general welfare, and the general welfare clause should never have been invoked. Chief Justice Roberts has got some serious judgment problems. He's an epileptic. He's on heavy medication. He shouldn't even be running as our nation's most important judicial figure. He should be instead taken out of position due to medical reasons. Our country is being led down a road to ruin. Corporations are given individual status. You can't sue Walmart in a class action suit now. You can lie about your military record. You can invade the privacy of a person burying their child who served in the war, even if people are claiming that that child is a homosexual and is going to burn in hell. That's protected under the Supreme Court's ruling of free speech. We have a group of people at the Supreme Court that are bought off. And they're doing the bidding of big corporations and contributing to this incredible nightmare we're calling the American economy. Now, in a couple months, you're going to see the economy tank big time. The reason it's going to tank is all those props that were created to present Barack Obama as a great leader are going to collapse. There's no way they can keep holding up this economy, supporting false gold figures and silver figures that control the entire gold and silver market. You're going to see a reversal of all that, and you're going to see this nation go into a deep tailspin. December 21st is not the end of the Mayan calendar. It's the end of the actual contracts that companies like the IRS, private companies like the IRS and private companies like the Federal Reserve, their contracts are coming due to expire. And their debt load is massive. They can't possibly live under the stress of their debt. And when you look at the monetary policies these people are creating, it's all about printing money to cover their butt. Instead of letting the nation rest on its own laurels and see where we're at, we're going to see a collapse of various areas. Now, how can you protect your future and your family's future? Well, that's where my ideas for the future will come in. We want everyone to have regional food supplies in their area. We want all of you to present yourself as a possible worker in the Homestead Renewal Plan if you want to. If you want to make $10 to $12 an hour, you'll be able to do that fixing up houses. And if you have a job, great. Be prepared for the inevitability that our nation is not going to be there with extra unemployment insurance, with extra Social Security services for non-U.S. citizens. We're going to take care of the American people first and foremost and pay Americans first before we start giving money to people that don't even pay into the system, who are coming here illegally right now and are getting free green cards from Barack Obama. We're not going to allow that. So expect a fiscally sound, sustainable future for this country, not something that's all over the place in credit card land, because that's what we've got right now. We've got a nation that is borrowing at such a fast rate that we are going to tumble. Whether you like it or not, the economic collapse is approaching, and we're getting closer to that time. If you're wondering what we're going to do to get out of that right now, well, you need to protect your finances and your money and whatever savings you've got. I want you all to realize that the money market is very unstable. Even Tim Geithner has announced that $2.7 trillion are at risk in the money market without any kind of regulation to control what could happen. Your mutual funds are in danger. The derivatives markets are in danger. So I recommend diversifying and investing in your own personal well-being, food for your family, water filters, clothing that could last an enduring time so you don't have to continually buy new clothes. You're going to have to prepare for some serious times coming up. And if you're not ready for that, Just consider this a warning and be prepared and start right now. Begin the begin, as they say, and begin the process of preparing for your personal survival, because the economic collapse that's going to ensue after the election will be so bad that you'll wonder what the heck just hit our nation. I'm David John Sponheim, and I support this message.
Split the vote. Split the vote. 2012. Split the vote. Split the vote.
Yeah.